What's happening, friends? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. Today's video is another installment in my series about building a DeFi portfolio. Today's video I'll focus on the Harmony 1 ecosystem. I've gotten a lot of requests to do one of these videos about Harmony. Down below I'll also include a link to my other videos in this series for anyone interested. And before I go any further, I want to emphasize that I'll talk about a lot of different farms, coins, strategies in this video. Nothing I say is implying that you should or should not invest in these particular cryptos. I'm merely talking about a sample portfolio. Great. So lots to cover today. So let's get right into it then. So first thing that I'll go through is how I would allocate my portfolio, and this will be more or less the same as my other videos, but for people who may be new to the channel, I divide my portfolio into 4 major categories. First is stablecoins. These are coins typically pegged to a national currency. And when you have dips like some of the ones we've had over the past couple months, it becomes clear why it's important to have a large stablecoin position, because that allows you to buy the dip. But even when you have stablecoins, it's usually possible to earn 20%, sometimes even higher percentage APR on those coins. Next, I have my high conviction large caps. And so I don't have a mid cap category. I just do large and small. And for me, large is really anything over $1 billion in market cap. And these are coins that I have a lot of conviction in, that I'd be willing to hold through a dip, through a bearish period in the market, and in that I have sort of a fundamental thesis on why I think the coin will do well. I would strongly recommend that everyone have some sort of thesis on why you think a coin will do well, because otherwise you'll probably panic sell at the first dip. Next up, I have the same thing, but for my small caps. Large cap is over $1 billion, small cap is under $1 billion. Sometimes people get offended when I call coins that have a $500 million market cap small caps, but it's just terminology for the sake of this portfolio. Next, I have the Moonshot or Degen projects. And by the way, this allocation is slightly different than my usual portfolios. Because of the nature of DeFi kingdoms, I decided to make small caps 25% of the portfolio on Harmony, and then the Moonshot projects are only 5%. Usually I have the Moonshot or Degen projects as 10%. But these Moonshot or Degen projects are things that are extremely high risk, but also extremely high reward. So usually this means one of two things. It could mean a farm that has an incredibly high APR on coins that you're bullish on. So in that case, the risk you're taking is on the protocol. It's smart contract risk or protocol risk. So it might be one that uses large cap cryptos, but it's offering 1,000% APR. So that's going to be very risky. The other thing that it could be is it could be micro cap coins. So it could be coins with a market cap of $1 million, a couple $1 million, even $5 to $10 million is very small. And so these are things that have the potential, if they catch on, to do many multiples, 10, 20x. And so that's why they are moonshots, but you can also earn some nice yields on them. And so those are the allocations for the portfolio. And the protocols that we're going to look at, the first thing I want to say is that when you're looking for protocols on a chain, the best place to go is usually DeFiLlama.com. DeFiLlama.com, and they have a different page for every major chain. You can see here I'm on the Harmony page, and it shows you the largest projects on that chain by total value locked. So that's the amount of liquidity or lending funds, etc., that are locked into a platform. And it's just a good way to start to see the ecosystem. You can then go check out these protocols and see which ones which ones are growing and which ones have APRs or farms that appeal to you. So first thing we're going to look at definitely today is DeFi Kingdoms. DeFi Kingdoms is very popular. It's a fusion of a game and a DeFi automated market maker. But it's got a lot of attention, and it's the largest protocol in Harmony. And honestly, I think most people who have come to Harmony have probably come for DeFi Kingdoms. Next, we'll look at Tranquil Finance. Tranquil Finance is a lending platform, so that lets you get single-sided APR on various tokens. Sushi has is on pretty much every chain. It's got decent TVL and Harmony, but none of the farms are that appealing, so we won't look at that. Multi-chain Synapse have some decent farms. They're both bridges, but again, we're not going to look at that. Curve is on most of the major chains. It's a stablecoin swap, and again, we're actually going to skip that one just because it could be decent, but the APRs are not phenomenal in Harmony. I found 100 Finance is actually better. 100 Finance is also on a number of chains, but their unboosted APR in stablecoins is around 7%, being able to boost it up to almost 20%. So we'll look at that one. And then we'll also look at Viper Swap, which is, I guess, after Sushi Swap and DeFi Kingdoms, the number 3 swap. I'm not counting Curve. It's the number 3 swap on Harmony, but they have some very nice farms themselves. And that will be the protocols that we will look at today. So if we jump back to our presentation, the first thing that we need to do is find a good stablecoin farm. And like I said, usually you can find them that's 20%, but even anything that's 10% or over would be phenomenal compared to a typical bank account. So if we go back to our protocols, DeFi Kingdoms does not have any stablecoin farms as far as I could tell. Tranquil Finance has some all right rates, again, good by traditional finance standards, 8%, but nothing special by about DeFi. 100 Finance, if you're willing to lock in HND tokens, you could boost it up to 20%, which is good. Actually, the best one that I could find was on Viper, and sometimes you just have to look between a few different exchanges to find one, but they have this farm here, 1 USD, 1 spelled out as 1, and then 1 USDC, the number 1, and that is 35% APR. So that is very nice. I will say this is somewhat riskier than a typical stablecoin farm that we'd look at, simply because 1 USD is not a major stablecoin. And actually, as of the time I'm writing this, it's just a little bit below its peg. But this APR is just so much better than the other ones, and that's really quite phenomenal for stablecoins. So I'm going to stick with this one, 35% for this portion of the portfolio. So now we have our stablecoin. We're doing 1 USD and 1 USDC on Viper Swap, and we are earning a nice crisp 35%. Next up, we're going to look for a high conviction, large cap farm. And so this, what we want to do is, some people call this smart farming. Basically, you want to find coins that you're already bullish on, and then you want to find farms where you can earn good APRs on those coins. And so, for example, here in Viper, we have a bridged version of BTC, and 1, we can earn 195% APR. That's very nice. Luna 1, likewise, Luna, great coin, 57%. I actually think the best place we'll be able to find rates, though, for this is on DeFi Kingdoms. And so this is where things get a little bit funky, because if you're on Harmony, like I said before, probably there's a good chance it's for DeFi Kingdoms. And normally these portfolios, you wouldn't have it all on one chain. So probably if I were actually going to use Harmony for farming, I would basically look for farms that included Jewel in it. And that would be, maybe this would be my small cap play, would be Harmony. However, in this case, we're going to build an entire portfolio, and Jewel does not at the moment fit the category of a large cap. So I'm going to hold off on adding Jewel until we get to the small cap category. So for the large cap, I'm going to look for multiple layer ones. These are things that you can be extremely bullish on through multiple cycles. It's not dependent on a specific application. It's more of a protocol. So you can see, just getting into it, there are some incredible yields with Jewel, and we'll come back to this for the small cap. Should be easy to find a farm that has 2 coins we're bullish on with over 200%. But I'm looking right now for anything that only has large caps. So 1 BUSD, 83% is nice. Another one with a stablecoin, 1 with ETH is 50%. And then there's BTC, ETH with 18%. So this is a tricky one. I'm actually tempted to do that 1 BTC farm on ViperSwap because it's so good, but you know, I really want to start accumulating some Jewel if I was building something on, if I was farming on Harmony. So I'm going to go with the 1 and the 1 ETH. That little 1 just means that it was bridged to Harmony 1. It's basically Ethereum. So 1 ETH, and we're going to earn 50%. And note that on DeFi Kingdoms, you won't earn all of this right away because some of it vests over a period of several months, or it vests a few months later. But we're going to do 1 ETH, and that's 50%. So now we have 2 portions of our portfolio set. We have stablecoins 30%, and that is earning 35%. And then we have our high conviction large cap is going to be 1 paired with ETH, and that is earning almost 50%. And the nice thing about this is that as we go down the ladder here, these get riskier. So we should be earning a higher APR, right? You want more reward with more risk. And that doesn't always work out perfectly, but so far it is. So let's go back to DeFi Kingdoms now, and let's find a good small cap. And again, in this case, I really want some exposure to Jewel. So I'm going to look for a good farm that includes Jewel, Jewel Luna, and Jewel AVAX, both at 190% APR. That I would be very happy in either of those because I love both of those coins. Jewel UST, 200%. You know, stablecoins are nice, but we already have our stablecoin allocation. Let's get something a little bit juicier. Jewel FTM, 225%. Jewel 1, 250%. So, you know, I think the cool thing with this is that you can get exposure to some other layer ones, and you know, I think FTM is what we're going to go with. That's got one of the better APRs. FTM has been a lot of conversation around FTM in the DeFi world right now. So that's Phantom for anyone who's not familiar. So we're going to do Jewel and Phantom for 225% APR, and I'd be very, very happy in that farm, earning, you know, nice clean 225%. You will definitely not get that from a bank. So now we've got our stable coins, we've got our large caps, we've got our small cap, and we are on to the Moonshot play. And one thing I want to pause and emphasize is that we only have 4 farms in our portfolio. So far we have 3, we're about to add a 4th. You don't actually really need that many to be diversified. In fact, if you get too many, it can be really hard to manage. If you have 15, 20, you know, it's like there's a meme of the Boy Scout who's got like a ton of badges on, and it says every crypto investor when they first start. You know, it's a lot of times easier to just find 5 that you have high conviction in, and then if you diversify it like we are now, you can have exposure to all these different coins still. And that way, if one does well, you really do well. If you have 20 coins and one blows up, then it might not make that big of a difference on your portfolio. That's just my 2 cents. But let's find our Moonshot play. And so if you go to Harmony here, if you go to DeFi Llama and look at Harmony, there's a lot of small protocols you could look at, some of them going down to only a few 100,000 or even just a few tens of thousands in TVL. And so you might look at some of these, and this is where you can find some really small ones that have potential of blowing up. And you might find some that have, you know, multi-1,000% APRs here. But in this case, just given how the market is right now, I'm going to look for something that I would actually believe in, has potential to grow bigger, rather than looking for something with an insane APR. And so one that I settled on looking around was Elk Finance. Elk Finance is on many different EVM compatible chains. It's on almost all of them. And a lot of times it's one of the first bridges to a new chain. So it's a bridge, it's a farming platform. They've got some other cool features rolling out soon. And here you can pair one with Elk and you can earn 91% APR. So this would be my final Moonshot farm. And I say Moonshot because the market cap of Elk is very low. It's a micro cap. So in this case, I'm viewing it more as investing in this bridge and earning a small, or not small, but significant APR along the way. It's actually quite nice APR. And so that would round out the portfolio with 91% on the one Elk farm on Elk Finance. Cool. So that concludes our portfolio. With stablecoins, we are earning 30%, or we have 30% in stablecoins. We're earning 35% on one USD and one USDC over on ViperSwap. High conviction large cap is going to be earning 50% on the one ETH pool on DeFi Kingdoms, The high conviction small cap will be Jewel and Phantom, earning 225% over on DeFi Kingdoms. And then finally, we have our one Elk pool on Elk Finance, earning 90%. And I didn't do the exact calculations on this one because I decided on some of these during the video, but roughly your average on this has got to be close to 100%. And that's pretty nice. So if you put in, say, $1,000, you earn $1,000 over the course of a year, roughly, which means that you're earning a few dollars a day. And then you can reinvest that into other coins, start building positions in those, and then repeat the process, grow from there. I mean, I have coins that I've built my position in entirely from earnings that are now third or fourth largest thing in my portfolio just because they've appreciated so much, and that's pretty cool when something like that can happen. So that's all I got for today. Let me know if there's any other strategies you're using on Harmony, and if there's any other ecosystems you want me to make one of these videos for. Harmony, this is Harmony, but Polygon is coming up, Aurora's coming up. Let me know if there's others you want me to make these for. And until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.